Hello everybody, welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet, and today we're doing something possibly a little bit insane, and that is ranking every single piece of media that I consumed in 2025. I've tried to make this as easy as possible by categorising it and making like subcategories, so we will cover in this order: TV I watched at home on my own time, and then TV I watched on YouTube, movies I watched at the cinema, movies I watched at home, movies I watched on YouTube, then we'll do video games that I played, video games I played on YouTube, and then finally we'll do music that I listened to and music that I listened to on YouTube. And my aim is to rank everything, and that is nearly 90 different things, so we might be here a while, but we'll try and get through it nice and quick because I don't want this to be too long. But I would recommend grabbing a little drink, grabbing a little snack, because we might be here for a while. Drink of choice for me is a J2O, so let's get into this. So here are all of the TV shows, movies, games and music. When I say music, I'm talking albums that I listened to this year. So we've got quite a few to get through, and to make it a little bit easier, I've made it all in chronological order, so that will be that each subcategory starts at the beginning of the year. My categories are nice and simple, just to keep it very clear what I liked, what I didn't like. So starting from the top is I loved this, which to me is like, if it had another series I'd definitely watch it. It was a masterpiece, really well put together. Then it was This Was Good, which is I enjoyed it for what it was, but I wouldn't run out and go and see it or recommend it really highly. This Was Okay is mid, where I didn't have any really strong feelings about it or any really negative feelings about it. Then it's into This Was Not Great, which is where it's like maybe a bit slow, a bit of a drag, ended poorly or anything like that. And then lastly, which I hope I don't put anything into, but this is I hated this. And it's very unusual that I would hate a TV show or a film or whatever, but you never know, we might surprise ourselves and find something that I actually hated this year. So we're going to start all the way back in January with the TV that I watched in my own time or with my family. So we're going to start with Netflix's Black Doves, which did have Keira Knightley in it. I can't remember who the lead man was, but it was like a spy undercover cut type show. I think it was really strong, and it definitely had some strong moments in it, but I think if it had a second series, I wouldn't be like running to go and watch it. So I'm going to put Black Doves into This Was Good, because I wouldn't run out to recommend it, wouldn't be bothered too much about second series, but if my family wanted to watch it, I'd probably watch it with them. Moving into The Traitors, which is one of the few reality programs that I actually have on this list. I love a good reality show, but my favourite reality is like game, puzzle, competition. Like those are my favourite reality shows. I'm not bothered about like the real lives of people, that doesn't bother me. But The Traitors is one of my favourite programmes to watch every year. In fact, as this video goes out, I think the third or fourth regular series in the UK has just started, so I'm super looking forward to that. When I'm filming it, it's actually like a week away, but I love that show so much. I think it's just so fun to have 22 regular people from around the country going head to head and trying to lie to each other and win money, and I just think it's a really good show. So The Traitors is, I loved this because it's just one of my all-time favourite shows. Moving into Silo Series 2, which I was super looking forward to. There was a couple slow moments in there, and it to me wasn't as strong as the first series, but still a really good watch. And I will be watching a third series because I'm really intrigued by the story. I've never read the book, but I'm really looking forward to the third one. So for me, I'm going to put that into I loved this. Next on the list is The Apprentice, which is another reality TV show, which, if you don't know what it is, it's a entrepreneur show where they take, I think it's like 16 or 20 entrepreneurs from around the country, and they want to give their business plan to Alan Sugar, who's going to invest in their business basically. It's full of really cringe people who think that their ideas are the best ideas and they can't take anybody else's ideas or thoughts in mind, and I love it. And I also know that it's quite heavily meddled with, so sometimes they do the most stupid design ideas ever. I think the worst thing I ever saw on The Apprentice, I don't think it was this series, but they had done a baby food, like the the round was like making baby food and selling it to different shops, and they had designed this label.
Stephanie, you talked about the logo.
Yeah.
To be honest, when I look at it, what I see is first time fuck dies.
How stupid do you have to be to one, make a food product that says die on it, but make a baby food product that says die in it? It's just stupid. Stupid people being stupid. There's a lot of cringy moments, but for me, I just love a bit of trash competition show, and that was what it was. So I'm going to put that into This Was Good. Moving into Apple TV's Bad Sisters, which if you had asked me when series 1 came out, does Bad Sisters need a second series, I would have said no. Leave it alone, don't touch it. The first series was a really good, what I thought was advertised as a limited series, but I could be wrong, that came out about this group of sisters who was trying to protect their, I think it's the eldest sister, from a really, really nasty man that she's married to. If you haven't seen the first series, I would definitely recommend it. It's a little bit gruesome here on there, but I think altogether it's really good. But I don't think the second series was necessarily necessary, but it was actually really good. For me, I think it didn't need to be done, but for what they did with it, it was good. I'm not going to say it as far as I loved it, just because, like I say, it just wasn't as strong as the first series. So I'm going to put Bad Sisters into This Was Good. Moving forward into, I think it's Netflix's The Gentleman, and this is, I believe, correlated to the Gentleman movies, which I don't think I've ever seen, but this follows a man who, I think he's inherited a farm that makes and sells, or grows and sells drugs, and he is like, has taken it over, and he's like trying to get rid of it, but he doesn't want to get rid of it. And it's a whole thing about like gangs and drugs and fights and all this sort of stuff. Some gory moments, some cringy moments, some bits where you're like, again, why are you doing that? What's the thought here? But I will be watching the second series, but I think I'll put it into This Was Good. Next up is Severance, which is obviously Apple TV's like biggest show, I think. And this is the second series, which I found really boring. I'm not gonna lie. There were about 2 or 3 episodes where I was just like, oh my god, hurry up, like get to the point. It was exceptionally slow, and I remember the first series being slow, but it was slow with intrigue. It was like you wanted to know what was going to happen, and the drama was building, and you were excited to find out what was happening. But this series just felt like it was like, we don't know what we're going to do between series 1 with this story and series 3, which is going to have this story. And it took so long to come out. I think it was like 4 or 5 years before we saw, or is it 3? I don't know. Either way, an exceptionally long amount of time. I know there was riot strike and COVID and all that stuff, but it was a really long time between seasons, and it made it feel like a bit of a slog. They have recently announced that the third series is going to be out in summer 2027, and I just think like it's a great show with a lot of very cinematic moments, but why are we dragging this out? And I think we'll get to that a little bit more further down the line with Stranger Things, but it just seems like it's really, really slow to get things out that are high quality. Like, and I know that we want them to spend the time to perfect the show, but I need series 3 to be better. So I'm going to actually put Severance in This Was Okay. That's probably going to annoy people because it's one of those big shows that everyone loves. But it's my opinion, okay? It's my opinion.
Good for me. That's my opinion!
Next up is Netflix's Adolescence, and I don't even have to talk about this. I will, but I don't have to even talk about why I'm going to put that in. I love this. If you've seen it, then you know why it was so well received. Obviously, this show was huge. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Everywhere you went, people were talking about Adolescence for multiple reasons. One, because it looked at femicide but from a young boy's perspective. It looked at red pill and like toxic masculinity, and also every episode was done in one shot, and I think that they really hit the jackpot by doing those 3 things. It worked out so well. The boy in it, I can't remember the character's name or the actor, please forgive me, but he was exceptionally talented. He really made you understand how these young boys are getting radicalized by this media, and it was just so well done. The one shot of it as well was really cleverly thought out, where it wasn't just a one shot for the sake of it. It actually made you feel like you were there. So Adolescence for me is, I loved this. Really good show. Moving on now to Paradise, which I think is an Apple TV show. And if it is Apple TV, it was my favourite Apple TV show of the year by far. If you haven't seen Paradise, skip me talking about it and just go and watch it. Don't listen to anything about it or plots or anything like that. Just go and watch it, because it was very unexpected. I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler, so if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, skip a little bit. But when you find out at the end of episode 1 that they're actually underground and it's like a nuclear fallout bunker, it blew my mind, because I had no idea what I was watching. And then for it to be that, really come out of left field. Paradise I actually heard of on a podcast I listened to called Morning Somewhere, and they spoke about how, I think it's episode 8, the last episode, could actually be a standalone episode that has no correlation to the rest. You could just watch that by itself, and I truly think you could, because it's the story of how the world ended, quote unquote ended, we think, and why they're all where they are, but it doesn't necessarily have that much attachment to the story that's going throughout. So I really liked that, and I'm going to put it into I loved this. One of my favourite things, easily. Next up is The Residence, which was on Netflix, and again, another really unexpected hitter for me. I saw the trailer and I was like, this could be okay. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that funny, and I didn't think it would be quite as good as it actually ended up being. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I would say I loved it. I don't think it blew my socks off, but it was really good. So I think I'll put it into this was good. Moving on to Black Mirror, which I think was series 7. And how do I say this? I think we can finish Black Mirror. I think we can call it now. Again, really strong episodes, really poor episodes. Another bit of regurgitation on some of the previous stories. I think there was 2 episodes that were prequels or continuations to other Black Mirror episodes, which were good, but again, they're not as good as the original one. So I'm going to put Black Mirror into this was okay. And I can't believe that 2 of the biggest shows of the year are in this was okay for me, but they just were. They were just okay. Okay, next series is The White Lotus, which I think is a HBO show, but for me it's on Now TV. We, my family and I, watched this because everyone had been banging their gums about White Lotus, basically. Everyone's saying that White Lotus was really good and really worth watching. Can't believe that nobody watches it because it's so good, blah, 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 all these good things about it. And we had actually watched the first 1 or 2 episodes when it came out, and we just weren't taken by it. So we watched it again, and it was good, but there were some really weird parts in it that I'm like, why is this happening? Like, if you've seen it, I think it's the last episode where he's doing what he does to the suitcase, and it's just like, that to me is actually disgusting, like physically disgusting, and it just really took me out of what I was enjoying, because the rest of the series I was like, yeah, this is actually quite good, bar a few moments here and there. And then I watched that and I was like, that's actually vile. Why did they add that in? I didn't like that. So for me, I'm going to put this into this was not great. I also don't really like Sydney Sweeney, so I don't know if we'll watch the second series of White Lotus. I'm not bothered by it personally, but again, if my family want to watch it, then sure, we'll give it a go. Next up is The Stolen Girl, which was on Disney+. And the concept sounded really interesting to me, but it started with a bunch of dumb decisions that really just took me out of the show. It was alright, wouldn't watch it again. If there was a follow-up series, which I don't think there should be, I probably wouldn't watch it, so I'm going to put it into this was okay. Next things next is High Potential, which is another Disney+ series. This is the first series, actually, of High Potential. The second series does come along a little bit later in this list. The first series was fun. I think you had to grow to love the main character. At first, I did not like her. I found her insufferable because she was a know-it-all, because she had a bit higher IQ than everyone else, so she could solve all the crimes and she didn't listen to anybody. She did what she wants, and I found that character extremely insufferable. But as you got to know her backstory, you kind of grew to love her a little bit more. until the second series, but we'll get to that later. But I found it really fun. It was a nice, light, easy watch because it was just, here's a crime, here's how we solve it, the end, goodbye. And I just like a show like that sometimes, but I'm going to say it was good because I did go on to watch the second series because I enjoyed the first one so much. There we go. Next up is The Last of Us Series 2 or Season 2, which was HBO, and I know that why people didn't like this if they didn't play the game. I didn't play the game, but I knew what was going to happen to our old Joel, but I still think it was a strong season. It was nowhere near as good as the first season, but it was good television. Good television. So I'm going to put it straight into this was good. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I just know what I think about that one. Next up is another game show, which is Devil's Plan, which is on Netflix, and it's I think it's a Korean TV show where they get all these really smart people to come and do these games that are so complicated. I don't know how they actually play them. Like, listening to them, I never understand the rules of the game until they actually start playing. And then by the time the game finishes, I'm like, oh, now I get it. Now I understand what they're trying to do. As I said in this video, I love reality TV, and that one is just right up my street. I loved it. And again, if it had a third season, if it has one, I'm going to watch it. So I'm going to put that into I loved this. Next up is Ludwig, which is a BBC mystery show. Can you tell like a mystery? At this point, there's a lot of mysteries in this lineup. Ludwig, which is a show about a man whose twin brother goes missing, and he's working with his twin's wife and child to try and figure out why he went missing. He left a mysterious note and then just disappeared, and that is my favourite concept for a show this year, I think. So I would highly recommend that, and I loved it. Moving into another Apple TV show of Slow Horses, which is the third season, is what I'm ranking. We've been slowly making our way through this for a couple of years. I know there's like 5 out at the moment, and we're slowly getting through them. I think the third series was a really strong series, and I understand why people rave about it because the quality, for me anyway, has been consistent throughout. It was just good. I enjoyed it, and I probably will watch the next one. So I'm going to put that into this was good. Because I think if I loved it, I'd be like desperate to watch the next one. Even though it's out, I haven't watched it. So maybe it's not a loved it, maybe it's a good. Moving forward into a BBC series, I think it was, but it's now on Netflix, called Years and Years. And this is written by Russell T Davies, who I love his writing. I think this show was extremely heartbreaking. I think I watched it at the wrong time. I think if I watched it when it came out in 2019, I don't think it would be quite as a depressing watch as it was this year. So Years and Years was good, but very devastating. Moving on into Foundation, which is an Apple TV series, which I think has a series 2 and 3 maybe, or at least a 2. I think it has a really great premise. I think visually it's outstanding, but verbally, scripturally, it's difficult for me to understand. It's a fast-moving script with a lot of characters. It kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones a little bit, where there's a lot of moving pieces to make this whole storyline, and you're kind of jumping from this group of people on this planet over here to this group of people in this part of space over here to this group in this part of space. Like, there's a lot of jumping around, and also kind of follows different genres. Like, one group is looking at tech and survival on one planet. One is kind of running like an ancient ruler type thing, like an ancient Greece or Rome, something like that. So it's a lot of jumping back and forth into different dialects and stories and plots. So I found that quite challenging. I would definitely recommend it if you like sci-fi. So for Foundation, I'm going to put it into this was good. Okay, next up is Poker Face, which I think is another HBO show. It was on Now TV for me. It is the second series of Poker Face, and again, it's another whodunit murder mystery type show where each episode is a different story contained in itself with kind of a through line. I think it had potential to be really, really good. The first series was really, really good. The second series, I think, was focused on shock factor and celebrity names. Like, every episode had a different famous face in it, and you're like, oh, it's so and so. Like, Cynthia Erivo was in there, and I think it was more like, what can we do that will surprise the audience, and who can we bring in that will surprise the audience? I think it lost its way there. If I was putting the first series on, I would have put it in I loved this, but I think for the second series, I'm going to put this was good. Next up is Loch Ness, and this is a very old show, I think. I think it's like maybe 7 or 8 years old at this point. I think it was originally on ITV in the UK, and it's actually called different things. So if you're watching from somewhere else, this might have actually been called The Loch to you, but for the UK it was called Loch Ness. I didn't like it. I felt the script was very wooden. I actually felt it might be something that you would put on between like The Bill and Casualty in the 1990s. It really felt a bit to me. Like it felt like it needed to get some energy back and get going, but it didn't for me. My family actually enjoyed it a lot more than I did, so you know, if you want to give it a go, I would recommend you try it and see what you think, but for me this was not great. Okay, moving onwards swiftly because we've been going for 40 minutes and I'm not even halfway through my list. This is Netflix's Wayward, and I think Toni Collette in this was 10 out of 10 fantastic actor. She is always bringing her best game to any role she's in. I love Toni Collette. But Wayward was not the one for me. I think there were some really, really horrible moments where I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, why have you done this? This is weird. And also, a little bit of a spoiler for the final episode if you haven't seen it, but it ends and then it ends again. And that to me is like, it says two things. It either says that the writers didn't know what to do with it, they couldn't decide, so they did both, which is stupid, in my opinion, or they wanted to satiate everybody in the audience, and that's not how you should end a show. You should pick an ending and do it. It did the whole, this is the end. Just kidding, they imagined it, and now this is actually the end. And for me, that's not a good enough ending. It wasn't a good enough wrap up for what had happened. If they'd ended it on the first end, where the character escaped the situation and left, then I would have been like, yeah, that was pretty good actually. But because of that false ending, it actually kind of spoiled the rest of the movie, the rest of the show for me. So I'm going to put it into this was not great. Next up is Bookish, which I don't know who originally it's by, but it is on Now TV. And this is a post-war, again, mystery show about murder, and it's a whodunit. Each episode kind of wrapped up neatly, but there's a big plot line throughout, so it doesn't always have the murder in each episode. The thing that I think actually stood out the most to me about Bookish is the sound design, which is not something I usually pick out myself, but in this instance, sometimes when the characters are talking about particular moments, the soundscape is done in a way that you feel you're there. So for instance, there's a scene where two characters are talking about the war and air raids, and the music is playing, but right in the back of the music, really subtly, is an air raid siren and like demolition, like explosion sounds and stuff like that. And I think that really made you feel more empathy for the characters when they're talking about their sad stories about the war. So this is going into, I'm going to put it in I loved this. I think it was a really strong show. Next up is one of my all-time favourite reality TV shows. If you want to call it reality, I guess you can because it's real people. It's The Great British Bake Off, and this was series 15 or 16 of The Great British Bake Off. I love this show through and through. I don't love it as much as I did when it was on the BBC. Now it's on Channel 4. It's not as good, but I still really love this show and I'll watch it every year. So I'm going to put it into I loved this. I also did a bake along with the Great British Bake Off. I've done it 2 years on the trot, where I've baked something in the theme of Bake Off and I put it on my shorts or on TikTok. So if you're interested in those, definitely go and check that out, because I baked weird bakes for 10 weeks straight in 2 different years and it was a lot of hard work and I really enjoyed it. So if you do want to watch it, go and check that out. Moving onwards and upwards to the Traitors again, and this was the first UK celebrity Traitors, and this was a really good series. It had some really big UK names in it. If you watched it then you know, but it had just massive people, but from all different elements. There was actors and musicians and YouTubers and lots of different things in there. If you've never seen The Traitors, for one, watch The Traitors. If you've never seen the Celebrity Traitors, you have to watch this series. It was so good, and for that reason, I'm going to put it into I loved this. I cannot wait for them to do a second UK celebrity series, because if it's going to be that same quality of contestants, then I can't wait. Next up is Only Murders in the Building Series 5. And this is another show that I think needs to finish, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I love Martin Shaw, Steve Martin and Selena Gomez, but I just think that this show is past its heyday. It does sometimes feel like, a bit like if you watched Pretty Little Liars when it was coming out, and when I was a teenager watching it, I was like, this is really good, it's so well thought out. But then watching it as an adult, you're like, I can't remember who the writer was, but she just literally just shoved things in for the hell of it and hoped for the best. And I do think that Only Murders in the Building is going that way. It felt a bit meandering and like they didn't really know what they were doing with the show. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in This Was Okay. I also, while watching it, thought it was the last series, so I was very surprised when they queued up Series 6. I probably will end up watching it, but if it was out today, I wouldn't be rushing to go and watch it. Okay, we're getting into the last few shows that I watched without YouTube, which is, I knew this was going to be the longest bit because I watched more shows than anything else, but wow. Next up is High Potential Series 2, and as I kind of hinted at when we spoke about Series 1, this was just not as good as the first series. Her character became actually insufferable, like really just annoying, where she couldn't take anybody else's opinion on board, which had already been a story in Series 1 where she'd overcome that and realised the value of teamwork and listening to your colleagues. But she went back again and just started being really insufferable. Her teenage daughter was absolutely annoying as well, kept doing stupid things to get herself like arrested or in danger of being killed, things like this, where it's just like, why are you doing that? Like, I know that that's the narrative that pushes it forward, but it just became a thing where it's like, oh, welcome back to the episode where the teenager does something annoying and the mum doesn't listen and the colleagues hate each other and and it was just tedious. And to be honest, if it gets a third series, I think I will watch somebody else tell me what happens just to know the main plot line is resolved, but I don't think I would want to watch it. So to be honest with you, this is going in, this was not great, which is a shame because I really liked that show in the first series. Next up is Stranger Things Season 5, and I have to preface this with the fact that I have not yet seen Volume 2 and Volume 3 has not been released as of recording this, so I am solely basing this on the first 4 episodes. I really like the show and I do think that everything does tie together. I know people rip it a little bit because it feels like things don't tie together, but I disagree with that. I think if you actually watch it all, it is a well thought out story, and the Duffer Brothers do tend to, when making a new series, pick from the old series to make things make sense, which I appreciate. It doesn't just veer off on some weird tangent. So as of right this second, before Volume 2 comes out and Volume 3 comes out, I'm going to say that this was good. This was good is looking like it's the reigning champ at the moment. Moving on to my last reality series of the TV that I watched, and this is Squid Game The Challenge Series 2. I think this was a really, really good show. I liked the use of the pre-existing IP. Like, I think reality game shows are really good when they come up with their own thing, but I think this was very cleverly done where it used things that were already established in the Squid Game universe to fuel it forward. And I think there were games that weren't in the show because obviously we couldn't be pushing people off of high-rise concrete shapes, but we could do things like catch the ball, which I think was a really clever contest, and snakes and ladders, which I really liked, or snakes and slides, or slides and ladders. They were really good concepts for game shows that you could do without, actually killing people. So I think all in all this was really good, and if they did a third series I would definitely watch it. So for me, I'm going to put it into this was good. Moving into the last series that I watched independently or with my family is Down Cemetery Road, which actually I finished earlier this week. So it's fresh in the mind. I think Emma Thompson was really strong in this role as well. Like, I felt like it was something that we hadn't seen her explore, like a character we hadn't seen her explore, so it was really fun to see that. And it started exceptionally strong to where, for me anyway, I was hooked. I wanted to know what was going on and the next thing. I don't think it needs a second series. I'm hoping it doesn't get a second series. It ended succinctly enough where it wouldn't need a second one. I wouldn't watch it if it did, to be honest with you. So I'm going to put this into this was good. We're now finished with TV shows I watch either by myself or with my family, and we're moving into series I watched on YouTube with you guys. First up is Squid Game Series 1. I watched this right at the beginning of 2025 and it was mind-blowing because I knew vaguely of what the show was about. I know people were talking about it so much and I needed to see it. This was actually the first show or movie I'd actually reacted to on YouTube, so it was really fun to kick it off with something as crazy as Squid Game. And my videos, I think, are some of the videos I'm most proud of because the editing is so funny in my opinion, and it was really fun to watch. But the actual show itself was very cleverly done, very good. So I'm going to put this into I loved this because I think series 1 was really strong. I actually think if they said, oh, that's series 1 is finished, that's the end, he's got the money, he's won, the end, I would have been like, yeah, fair enough, sweet, cool, I liked that, it was a good story. But then they made a second one, which is not a problem. I would have been happy with one series. Squid Game 2 and 3, although these aren't in consecutive order, I'm actually going to just do them together because obviously they run into each other. Series 2 we watched together on the channel and I really enjoyed it. I think it was exceptionally heart-wrenching and emotional, but really, really good. I think it was a really good continuation to find out how he felt after he'd been through that process and won all that money, to see that he didn't just go, okay, well, cool, I've won all my money, I'm going to pay off my loans and go and live my life. Because when he came back to his life, his child had gone to a different country and his mum had died. So it was like he came back to nothing. He had loads of money, but he had nothing with him. So it was a really good exploration of that. I think it was a good continuation, but not nearly as good as series 1, so I'm going to put it into this was good. And then obviously series 3 we started on the channel, but I never actually finished posting on the channel. I found that the first episode of series 3 just wasn't very popular with everyone watching, so I'd ended up not doing the rest. I do actually have all the footage from the rest of it, so if you actually do want to see me react to the final series of Squid Game, do let me know, because I will happily put it together in 2026 and you can watch it. But in terms of actually watching the show, I think it was a really good wrap up. It left room for an American spin-off, which I thought was quite interesting, and I think it was a really good, satisfying end to his journey. I'm going to say a big spoiler, like the main spoiler. The fact that he died was really important, I think, because we do see in TV shows where writers are almost like scared to kill people off, and I'm scared to watch people get killed off that we've grown attached to. Watching him for 3 seasons only to see him sacrifice himself for a baby was really, really gut-wrenching, but I think it was really important that he did that for his character, to show who he is as a person and show that his core beliefs really were trying to end the game. It was a really difficult watch, but I think it was really, really well done. So I think I'm going to put it into this was good, just because it just wasn't as good as the first one. There isn't any contest for me. And lastly is Queen Charlotte, which we watched all together on the channel, and I loved this show. I really had high expectations going into it because I love Bridgerton so much, but it was even better than I thought it was going to be. Seeing Queen Charlotte's journey was really important to understand her character more, as well as all the other characters that were in the show, and it was important to see King George and look at his journey and understand why they are where they are in Bridgerton. So I think that was really important. I really enjoyed the show. I would probably actually put it on a rewatch list, so I'm going to put it on to I loved this. And that concludes TV for 2025. I'm going to move on into films in a second, but this is what we're looking at the moment in terms of TV shows. It's looking like most of the things I loved or thought it was good. There wasn't too many things that were mediocre and below, so that's pretty good. So now let's move into movies. Okay, so the first category again is movies that I watched myself, but it's actually going to be cinema edition. So these are things that I went to the cinema to watch. I am a Cineworld card holder and I did terribly this year for what I'm paying for. I need to go more next year. I just feel like I didn't have time this year. I feel like time just slipped out of my fingers and I just didn't go to the cinema enough. Compared to other years where I've gone, 30, 40 times, this year I didn't go much at all. But we're going to rank what we did go and see, starting with the National Theatre live performance of The Importance of Being Earnest, which was the Shuti Gatwa recording. And this was the best way to kick off my cinema experience in 2025. It was very funny, a really good story, well directed, and the National Theatre put it together very, very well. If you have a chance to see the Shuti Gatwa version of The Importance of Being Earnest, watch it, because it's so funny. It's so well done. So I'm going to put that into I loved this. Ooh, no I'm not. It's going to jump to somewhere else. Okay, next up is Captain America: A Brave New World. And how do I feel about that? When I first watched it, I said to my sister after the fact, immediately after, I was like, the first half of that film felt like classic Marvel. But then sitting with it for a little bit longer, I actually think that it wasn't. It wasn't classic Marvel. It wasn't great. I wouldn't rewatch it, to be honest. And I'm glad that I think it was some point during this year Marvel said that they were going to focus back onto quality over quantity. I think they were so keen to tell every story they possibly could about everybody that they overlooked a lot of really important things. Just looking at the last few years, I think She-Hulk was a miss. I think The Eternals was a miss. Brave New World was a miss. Ant-Man Quantumania was a miss. That one in particular, I know we're not talking about that because that wasn't this year, but that one in particular, Quantumania, was the hardest pill to swallow because of how good the first two Ant-Mans were. So them saying that they're going to focus back on quality over quantity is really important to me as a Marvel fan, and I hope that looking ahead to the new Spider-Man that's out next year and the Avengers that's out next year, fingers crossed they're a darn sight better than Captain America: A Brave New World. So that is going to go into This Was Not Great. Carrying on, we have the Six the Musical live, which was a live version of a theatre production of Six. I hadn't seen Six before. I didn't know much about it other than the fact it was Henry VIII's wives, and I think it was a really superb telling of the wives. I liked the modernity of it, making sure it was like accessible to everyone in a story being told now. Kind of reminded me a bit of Hamilton, where it's more and more interesting way to tell a story than to just be like, this is the story of Henry VIII's wives and this is what happened to them. Like, I think that would have been really boring, but the fact the music was catchy, the production was really well done, and it almost felt like you were seeing a pop group of 6 people made it that bit better. So for me, I'm going to put it into I loved this is what I'm going to put it into. We might have to actually zoom out the table here because I can't see my things at the bottom. Moving into Thunderbolts, * the new Avengers. I went into this being unsure. I didn't know if I was going to love seeing all these characters together like this, but I think it actually turned out really well. It to me felt like Marvel was like, okay, we've got our caps back on. This is quality over quantity. And I think I've seen it twice now. I actually watched it again at home later in the year, and the second watch was better than the first just because you knew what was coming, so it made the first watch better, if that makes sense. I don't think it knocked my absolute socks off, but I think it was quite good. Next up is a Minecraft movie, which I really wanted to like a lot. As a person who has loved Minecraft since probably like the year after it first ever came out, I was really not excited. I was like really looking forward to how they were going to use this world to create something, and I just think it missed. It really missed on a lot of things. I think it was big time aimed at children, which I understand because Minecraft's target demographic, it's a bit like Lego, where it's like it's aimed at kids but anyone can do it. And I can say that because I do a lot of Lego. And I kind of thought it'd be like, Minecraft, this is aimed at kids but everyone will enjoy it. But to me, it was very much like, this is aimed at kids and only kids will enjoy it and only kids will understand it. There were some really big flaws for it as a Minecraft fan. Case in point, the main kid crafts something at a crafting table, but he adds a bunch of stuff together and makes a new thing. And to me, that's like, then what's the point of using the what's the point of using the Minecraft IP if he can just design anything he wants that's not actually in the game? To me, that was like, you've lost me a little bit. I wouldn't watch it again. I think it was really disappointing, again, considering the cast. I really like the 3 main adults that are in the cast. And Jack Black in Jumanji was really, really, really good. And I thought it was going to be like that for Minecraft, but it just wasn't. So for me, I'm going to put it into this was not great. Keeping it going, we've got How to Train Your Dragon, which is the live action version, which came out shortly after Epic Universe opened, and I would love to go to the Epic Universe How to Train Your Dragon Burke area. It would be so good, but I cannot. The film itself was really, really well done. There were some slight changes from the animated version, but it was really good. It does make me wonder, why do we have to keep live actioning everything that we had? I kind of get it for Snow White, for instance. Not a good version, don't get me wrong, but I understand why we did Snow White, because the film came out 100 years ago. That makes sense to me. Redoing something that came out in the last 10-15 years doesn't make sense to me. Then we look at Moana, which came out in the last 5 to 10 years, and it's like, why are we redoing these things? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it needed to be done, but I enjoyed it still. I think what made it even better was I went to go see it with my friends in 4DX, so it was just hilarious to have like water spraying at me, and like, oh yeah, the chairs were moving around and there was wind blowing. I think that made it all that more fun, so I really enjoyed that. And I'm going to put it into, I'm torn. I want to say I loved it because it was really, really good, but then I'm torn between like, was it really good, or is it because I love the IP? I don't know, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for I loved it, because I did. I had fun, so I loved it. Elio, which is Pixar's 29th release, I believe. Again, really fun. I don't think it was as good as previous Pixar releases. I think they had the capacity to do something really, really clever with this space exploration, not listening to your parents or your carers and going off on your own adventure. I think they had really good potential, but I just think it ever so slightly missed the mark, and I think there were some tweaks and improvements that could have been made. Again, I think Pixar are making a mistake. I mean, I'm not Pixar, I'm not in charge, but from what we know, their thought is sequel then new IP, sequel then new IP, which is not a good way to do anything. Like, I really think it should be all hands on deck to do this one project, and then we look to the next one to get the best quality. So I'm going to put it into this was good. I wouldn't rush to watch it again, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Next up is Jurassic World Rebirth, and again, I think we can let a series die. It's okay to let it go, to finish it. I think the movie was great, but I don't think it needed to exist necessarily. Don't get me wrong, it was a darn sight better than the last one. I think it was Jurassic World Dominion, which was actually the worst Jurassic Park world film I've ever seen. So for me, I'm going to put this into this was okay. Next up is Fantastic Four First Steps, and I loved this film. No ifs, no buts, no coconuts. It's going straight into I loved this because it was so good. Marvel actually put their like hat on of quality again. They were like, okay, we've really flopped a little bit, so let's make this film really good. I think it was really stylized, which I absolutely love the style of it. That like retro modern feeling is fantastic. I loved it. Fantastic. We're now into the final film of movies that I watched at the cinema, and this is Running Man, which I watched last month when it came out. I've never seen the original. I didn't really know what to expect, but I think it was really good. Apart from the second half, I think it was really good overall, but there were some bits where it just felt like the obstacles getting in his way during running kind of felt like they were there for no reason. Like they didn't feel very set up, very accurate for the story, if that makes sense. Though I would watch it again, and I did enjoy it. It's not going to be one of those ones that I'm like, this, everyone has to watch this, and this was really good. So I think I would put it into this was good. Moving into movies that I watched either by myself or with my family. And we started strong with Bank of Dave 2, The Lone Ranger, which was a follow-on to The Bank of Dave, which is about a man who starts his own bank, basically, to help people in his community, which I think is really lovely. It's based on a true story, if I didn't already say that. It was really fun. I don't think it necessarily needed a sequel, but for what it was pretty good. So I'm going to put it into this was good. What's up next? Next up is Twisters, which is the sequel to Twister. I've never seen Twister. I went on the ride at Universal back in 2005 or 2007, one of the times I went back in the noughties, and it was a bit scary. I remember that, but I never did watch the film. It was a good little watch. I actually watched it outside, set up on a projector with my family during the summer, which was really fun. I did enjoy it for what it was. I probably wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again, so I'm going to put it into this was good. Next up is the 1996 movie Independence Day, which was really, really fun to rewatch. I definitely watched it when I was little. It probably horrified me for life, but I really enjoyed it. It was an accidental watch. We didn't intend to watch this. It was just on the TV, and then we ended up finishing it, so as good as it ever was. So I'm going to put it into this was good. Okay, next up is the Disney movie Wish, which I completely missed when it came out. I don't really know how, but I ended up watching this on like a crafty afternoon with my sisters at my sister's house, and I ended up really liking it. I think the songs were not the strongest things in the world, but the actual film was quite classic Disney to me. I really enjoyed it, so for me, I'm going to put it into this was good. Okay, next up is Wicked Part 1. I know you're watching this in January 26th, but I still haven't watched part 2 as the time of recording. I'll get around to it eventually. I didn't watch part 1 when it came out. I don't really know why, because I like Wicked, I like movies, I like shows, so I don't really know why I missed it, but I did. But we watched it again. This was an outdoor projector kind of moment, which was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I don't really get the hype. Maybe it was overhyped for me before I went in, so that probably ruined it a little bit. I don't think I would be screaming from the rooftops that you need to see it, unless you really like Wicked or you really like musicals, but it was a really good watch. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that, so it's going into this was good. Next up is a movie that I have seen probably more times than any other movie on the planet, and this is Hot Fuzz, which is one of my favourite movies ever, and also in the Cornetto trilogy. It's, for me, it is Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, at World's End. Fight me on it, I don't care. But yeah, I've seen this movie a billion times, and to me that just is because I loved it, and so it's going into I love this. Next up is a movie that we watched in the cinema many years ago when it came out, and I rewatched it as a movie pick for a family movie night, again on the projector outside with my family, and it is a great film with some unexpected twists and turns where you kind of need to pick up what's going on as it goes through and understand why the characters are making the decisions that they are. So I really liked that. 10 out of 10. Would recommend it. If you've not seen The Good Liar and you like a mystery and you like Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, go and watch it. And Russell Tovey, because he's great in this too. But if you like all those people, go and watch it. I've seen it a couple of times and I would 100% watch it again. So it's going into I loved this. Next is Deep Cover, which I actually hadn't heard of until my sister suggested it again for another family movie night. And it had 3 people in it that I would have never in a billion years put together. And that is Orlando Bloom, Bryce Dallas Howard and Nick Mohammed, who are just 3 really fun actors in themselves, but I never would have a million years put them together in this movie. They are accidentally completely undercover from being sourced by the police maybe to go undercover as they are improv actors, and then it kind of turns into like one thing after another and they have no choice but to see it through to the end, which made it 10 times funnier. Nick Mohammed is hilarious. Second time I've seen him this year. He was also in the Celebrity Traitors UK this year, and he was really funny in that too. So Deep Cover, I would recommend it. I wouldn't say like run out and watch it again, but I would definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it before. So it's going into this was good. Next up is Netflix's Thursday Murder Club, which is obviously based on the book by Richard Osman, which I didn't manage to read the whole of when it came out, but there we go. Maybe I'll go back and reread it. My sister said there were some bits missing from the book, but overall it was really good. And I would agree, I think it was really fun, not only because it has my favourite actor of all time, David Tennant, in it, but also because it has some of the greatest actors of all time playing in a really fun story, and I think it was just really well done. I'm going to say I loved it and I would rewatch it. So into I loved this. Next is some Christmas movies that are classic rewatches for me and my family. The first one is Christmas with the Cranks, which I don't think you could watch with fresh eyes and enjoy. I think it would be like, what the frick is this? But because it's a rewatch for my family from when I was little, I think it's great. So I'm going to put it into This Was Good.
Okay. Move away. Let these guys handle it. Thanks.
Next is Muppets Christmas Carol, which is hands down a complete classic, I will say. If you've never watched it, watch it, watch it, watch it. So good. Many quotable moments in it, fantastic songs, and a great use of the Muppets franchise and property, to be honest. So it's going into I loved this. I will come back to Wake Up Dead Man. I'm just going to finish the Christmas films quickly. And then was Klaus, which we watch every single year as a family for Christmas, much like the other two I just mentioned. But this is an animated film from 2019, I think, which has very unexpected story of Father Christmas in it, or Santa, which I love, and it's very emotional, but it's really good. And if you haven't seen it, watch it next Christmas, because I promise you it's one of the best Christmas films ever. I loved this. And the last one on the Christmas film list for films at home was It's a Wonderful Life, which again is another Christmas classic. We watch this every single year on Christmas Eve, and it really does make me feel very Christmassy when I watch it, even though Christmas is not a massive part of this film. If you've never seen it, it's a great film. So that is going into I loved this because it's a classic. Then we've got two movies that I watched in December that are not Christmas films that I watched at home, and the first one is Wake Up Dead Man, which is the Knives Out mystery. It was not as good as the first one. First one is really good, but it was better than the second one, Glass Onion, for me. I think it was really fun. A good use of Benoit Blanc, again, a great cast all in all. It was good, so it's going into This Was Good. And the final movie that I watched at home with my family was actually yesterday, so this is fresh on the mind, and that was Sinners, because I missed it in the cinema when it was out. Realised after the fact that everyone was raving about it and I should have seen it, but I finally watched it, and I agree with the rave. I think it was a really, really good film. I can't remember the last time that we got a movie about vampires that wasn't like a teeny bop or like a kids film, so I think it was really fun to see a good vampire movie for the first time in a long time, and I would definitely watch it again and would recommend if you haven't seen it. So that's going into I loved this. Next up is movies that we watched on the channel, and we watched a whopping 8 movies this year on the channel, which sounds like nothing, but it was quite impressive because they take a really long time to put together. A 2-hour movie can take me fully 8-9 hours to edit, so if you watch any of those, I appreciate you, because they are a hard one to put together, but they are really fun. We kicked it off this year with Toy Story, which was the first in our Pixar rewatch, which, don't worry, I am continuing in 2026. So if you did like Toy Story, Bug's Life and Toy Story 2, you best believe I'm going to be carrying on with Monsters Inc. in the new year. So if you want to see that, subscribe, because I'm doing it soon. An ultimate classic. It never blows my socks off because it's an older kids film that I watched when I was little, but it is really good. So it's going straight into This Was Good. Next was Fantastic Four, which was the 2005 film. It was really good to see this movie. I actually watched it the day before I watched First Steps in the cinema, and I think that made First Steps even better because I actually understood a bit more about Fantastic Four. I think, seen bits and bobs of it before, but not watched it properly, and it was really fun. I think unfortunately now, because of how old it is, 20 years old, it doesn't hold up cinematically in the way that other films do, but it was really fun. I wouldn't rush out to see it again, but I would say it was good. So it's going into This Was Good. Next is A Bug's Life, which was the second movie in the Pixar rewatch / first watch. I watched Bug's Life when I was little, but I couldn't remember anything of it. So for me, it was a brand new film, which made it really, really fun. I didn't know what was going on, but I loved every minute of it. It was so fun. I will definitely watch it again, and I would recommend it wholly if you haven't seen it before. And I recommend my video if you want to see me first react to it. But I would definitely recommend that, and I really loved it. So it's going into I loved this. Can I fit it in? Can I fit it in? Yes, I can. I'm going to have to zoom out again because I can't see the grid. War of the Worlds 2025 version, which was bad. I don't want to say it was bad because people spent time on it and really liked it. But to me, it kind of felt like we want to make this alien movie in the midst of COVID, and we're going to really, really utilise our stay-at-home acting and webcams to make this movie feel like it would have happened in COVID times or something like that. And I think had this movie come out in 2020 or even 2021, I think we could go, oh yeah, well, they did the best that they could with the means they had because everyone was at home. But because it came out 4 or 5 years after we stopped doing lockdowns and stuff, it felt, I don't want to say distasteful, that's not the right word, but it felt dated. It felt like a different time zone, and it just felt low budget because of that. Whereas, like I say, if it came out right after COVID lockdowns and stuff like that, I think we would have gone, they did the best they could with the means they had. Now it just feels like, why did you bother? That's really cheaply made. The acting from Ice Cube was poor.
Eyewitness video.
Oh my god! And he was acting to a camera or a screen, which made it a lot more difficult to watch. We did watch this on the channel, and I did rip it basically the whole way through, which is difficult for me because I love people making the things they want to make and being creative, but I think it was a mistimed, poorly acted movie. So for that reason, it's going to go into this was not great. I wouldn't say I hated it, but yeah, it wasn't great. Okay, moving forward into our third and final 2025 Pixar rewatch movie, and that was Toy Story 2, which is the best Toy Story, and I won't hear anything bad about that, so if you disagree, don't tell me because I don't care. Toy Story 2 is a great movie, timeless classic, we'll watch it multiple times, so it's going to go into This Was Good. Moving swiftly into our Halloween watch for this year was Corpse Bride, which I hadn't properly seen, so it was really fun. I love the Tim Burton vibes, so that was really fun for me to watch. I think it had some unexpected moments in it, which I really liked, and it was very well put together with some fun songs, so for that reason it's going into This Was Good. And then we have Back to the Future, which was a first watch asterisk for me because I had technically kind of seen it when I was a kid but didn't really remember much about it, so watching a classic like that was really nostalgic even though I didn't really know much about it, and also made me feel like warm and fuzzy on the inside because it was just such a classic from 40 years ago at this point. It was fun to relive it and also be in like different eras of time, which was really, really fun, and I would put it in I loved this. The final film that we watched on YouTube this year, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and that was The Polar Express. It was a bit of fun. There were some really weird moments in it, like the imaginary ghost Angel Man was a bit bizarre, but I did like it all in all. So for me, I'm going to put it into This Was Good. And that is the end of the movies that I watched this year. Next up, we're moving into the category of video games, and we're going to start, like the last two categories, with games that I played but not on camera, which weren't many, I have to say. There's only a few, but we will get through those fairly quick, maybe. Starting off strong with the Bethesda game Fallout 4, which is a game that came out like 10 years ago, I think, at this point. Maybe more than that, actually. I actually just never got around to playing it. It was highly recommended to me by basically everyone I know who games, because I'm a big RPG kind of fan, and people said I needed to play it, and I just never got there. But this year I finally finished it, having started it actually in 2024. And it was really fun. I love an RPG where you can just scoot around and scope places out and explore and see what's going on. Like, I think that was really, really fun. It took me way too long to finish it. I can't believe how long, but we got there. And for me, I'm going to say it was good. And I am really looking forward to watching Series 2 of Fallout when that comes out on Prime. The first couple episodes are already out, but I just haven't got around to watching it yet, but we will get there. And if there's a Fallout 5, I will be playing that too. Moving forward into Minami Lane, I think is how you pronounce it, and this is just a little cozy game where you're setting up a little town to meet everybody's needs with restaurants and music shops and bookshops and stuff, and it was really cute. For me, it doesn't have continuous or replayability to it because there's only a few levels, and once you've done them all and got all the achievements, there's not really much else to do. But like I say, it doesn't have much of a continuous play aspect to it. but for what it is, a little fun cozy game, I would recommend it. So for me, it's going into This Was Good. Moving forward, we have Minecraft, which I did play an episode worth on the YouTube channel, and I played off camera. It's a game I pick up for like a couple weeks at a time, and then I put down and don't pick up again for another year. But it's a really fun game. I mean, I'm not going to review Minecraft for you. I think it's been done to death, but I love a good open world, love a good sandbox. It was really fun. Would put it in This Was Good. Moving into games that we played on the channel. And actually we did quite well this year, I think. Considering I thought it was going to take me ages to get through games, having been able to play 6-ish, we'll get to the ish of the why of the ish in a minute, but being able to play 6 games was beating my expectation, and if you watch them, thank you. I will be doing more gaming in 26, you best believe, so stick around. And we started the year strong with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which was graphically incredible, the story was really fun, and I probably would actually play the whole game again if I had the time to. I think I'd definitely do that again. So for me, I'm going to put that into This Was Good. I don't think it's going to be my all-time favourite game ever, but I did really enjoy it. Okay, next up is Atomfall, which I'm going to explain in a minute, but I'm moving it straight into I love this without a shadow of a doubt for me. The game was incredible. Like, I think because it was set in the UK, it was kind of RPG-esque. It was a mystery, and I think that for me just like encompassed what got me hooked in the first place, and I just loved the northern accents of it and working out what Oberon was and what needed to happen. I think I probably would actually play it again as well, just to explore a few of the different endings. My sister got a different ending from me, so it was fun to watch her play the end of the game and get a different ending. I would highly recommend it. If you didn't play it, definitely give it a go. It was really fun. And we are actually, which we'll talk about in a minute, working through the DLC, so that was really good too. Continuing on, we've got Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which we just finished. I'm actually posting the final episode of that today as I film this video, so we finally wrapped it up. It took me months to get through because it's such a long game. I do wish I was able to slow down just a tad and just explore a little bit more of the world itself, but I think that's something that maybe I can do in my own time to be back in the world. I think it was really fun, and considering I'd never played the game before it was remastered, it made it even more fun because I didn't know what I was expecting. I think it was a really good game. I don't think it'll be in my favourites. I couldn't compare it to Atomfall personally, so I think it's going to go into This Was Good. Next up was a game that I started on the channel but never finished, and I'm debating whether to go back for it. So if you've made it this far and you actually want to see the Revenge of the Savage Planet continue to be played, please do let me know, because I would continue it for you guys. If not, I'll probably just play it in my own time, but from what I played of it, it was really good. I'm not going to say I loved it because obviously I haven't finished it, so I don't know if I loved it, but I am going to put it into This Was Good just because of the playthrough of the first game, which I really enjoyed, so I'm going to put it into This Was Good. It's really hard to see my table now. I'm going to have to zoom out again. There we go. Is that going to work? I don't know. Moving on swiftly through our games is Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which is a PS2 game I played with my sister Molly on the channel, and it was so fun. Like, I know this was so silly because it's such a weird old game that I think has like a bit of a cult following around it. I think I love the low quality of it, the fact that I'm literally physically playing on a PS2 with my sister when we play it, and it just feels like being kids again, which is really fun. We've played it a few times in our lives, never really finishing it completely, but always playing it, so for me it's going into I love this. Classic. And finally is the Atomfall DLC, The Wicked Isle, which as of recording I have not actually finished, but I am enjoying what I have played so far, and because I enjoyed the game, I know that it's going to be good. It probably will be I loved this when I eventually get around to finishing it, but it's going to go into This Is Good, or This Was Good, because I know it's something I enjoy. I really like that game, can't wait to finish the DLC and maybe play the next one after that. Moving now into our final category, but second to last subcategory, is music. For this category, I'm looking at albums that were new to me that I listened to the whole of. So if I listened to singles that came out at any point ever, or half albums or anything like that, they don't count. I'm literally just going to be looking at albums that I listened to from front to back all the way through. And actually they were all released this year, so released this year as well. Starting off with music that I listened to away from YouTube, and we had 2 albums. The first one was My Morning Jacket with the album Is. I am a massive My Morning Jacket fan. They are a rock band from America. I love them very much. They rarely ever come to the UK, so gutted for me. This album was a 10 out of 10. I still listen to it cover to cover every now and then now because I enjoy the album so much. So for me, it's going into I loved this. Next up is an album that I wish I had done on YouTube, which is West End Girl by Lily Allen. If I had known this album would make as many waves as it did and be as shocking as it was when I actually listened to it, I think I would have made a video for it because it would have been really fun to react to with you guys. I love the album. I think it's really strong album from front to back. There's a few songs that I would definitely skip, but if I was going to listen to the whole album, I think it's a vibe. I think it's really fun. So for me, I loved this. And now the final subcategory, which is music that I listen to on YouTube. And we listened to 3 albums this year, first of which was Miley Cyrus's Something Beautiful, which I liked, but it was not my favourite Miley album. It really isn't. I like that she explores different genres all the way through her career. That's something that I really do like, but I think Something Beautiful was not enough of the genres that I like for it to be, I loved it. I think it was good. So for me, this was good. Moving forward on to Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter, which we also listened to on the channel. I think it made waves in the best fun way ever, which I love when she just deliberately winds people up. It's my favourite thing. I think it was a really fun album. I can't say I listened to it front to back all the time. It was really fun, but I probably just listened to my favourites. So for me, I'm going to put it into this was good. And finally is the album Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift, which came out in October. I was very excited about this album, and I fortunately listened to it before everyone started absolutely ripping it for no reason, which I really don't care what other people have to say about things that I like. So for me, it was really good. I really loved it. Still really love it. There's definitely a couple on there that I don't tend to listen to, but for the majority of the album, I really love it. So for me, it's going into I loved this. And there you have our full list of all the media I consumed in 2025. Oh my god, it's so much stuff. I really don't know how I watch so much stuff. I really truly don't. And I mean, I missed things off as well, things that I'd started and didn't finish. It's fun to kind of explore everything, and I could have definitely gone into much more detail, but I don't think we need any more detail than the hour and 40 minutes I've been recording so far. If you did enjoy watching any of this media or consuming any of this media with me, definitely stick around and subscribe, because I will be back for more next year, or this year if I'm posting this in January, I don't know. I will be watching more TV, more movies, playing more games and listening to more albums, which is just my favourite kind of day, to be honest, doing any of those things. So if you like it, definitely stick around. Let me know if you have any strong opinions on anything I ranked and where you would actually put it if you put it somewhere else. Tell me what your favourite movie, TV show, video game and album was this year, and we can start a conversation in the comments below. Hope you had a fun and safe New Year's, and I will continue to see you in 2026 for even more media. I'll see you then. Bye.